Welcome. So the next set of tools we're going to be looking at are the crop tools. Now the crop tools are located right below the selection tool. Okay, right below your magic wand tool. You just click on it, you see your crop tool. By default, this is what you see. This tool here, this is your crop tool, right? And as the name goes, crop tool is used to crop. Okay, cropping, you're taking off unnecessary parts of the image, right? That's what cropping is all about. So cropping is just to take away unnecessary parts. So the crop tool is very simple. When you click on the crop tool, it brings out these handlers. Previously this is what it's like, but when you click on the crop tool, it brings out these handlers. So you can then reduce the size, you can crop. Okay, this is just what I want to crop here. Crop to this level, and then you press in the enter key, or you click on this mark button here, right? So you're pressing the enter key, you click on mark button. Okay, good. So I haven't done that. You can see I've been able to crop the image. Let's undo, Control Z, right? So also you click on the crop tool, hold down shift. If you hold down shift, what does that do? It constrains you to still maintain the shape of the object you're cropping. So you see, if I remove my hand from shift, just look at this, I can do this. But once my hand is on shift, it constrains me. Okay, so don't forget, always use, you can decide to use shift also in cropping. All right, so that's pretty simple and straightforward. So now the next set of tools we're going to look at, still under the crop tool, we have what we call the perspective crop tool. The perspective crop tool is a type of crop tool that helps us crop, okay, but it brings things that are in perspective, right, back into normal shape, or takes things into perspective. Let me explain that, right? So now, to locate your perspective crop tool, you have to right click or long click on your crop tool, go down, perspective crop tool, you click. Right now, this tool allows you to draw. Okay, allows you to draw. But before we do that, I want us to unlock the background. Just click on this lock button. Also, don't forget, this image is in your resources. One of the resources I sent to you, this image is there. Just the name of the image is fruits. So just open the fruits image, so you'll be able to follow as I'm doing this tutorial. So now let me show you how the perspective crop tool work. So we've clicked on the perspective crop tool. Now let's look at this. So now there are two ways to work with the perspective crop tool. Now I need just these oranges here. You can see the oranges are sort of tilted, right? They are tilted this way. It's not a straight line, they are tilted this way. Okay, you can see this box also is tilted, right? The box is tilted. So now what I want to do, I want to select just the oranges, right? So how do I work my perspective crop tool? I draw. Now there are two ways. You either click and draw over it. Okay, after you must have drawn over it, you can then come to each individual handler and draw. Okay, come to each one and draw to get to the edge. Usually you would like to zoom in. You like to zoom in so you don't miss the edges. Okay, so you click and then you drag over it this way. Okay, when you're done, enter key or this. Let's watch. You can see that it has brought it from perspective straight. Okay, forget that the quality is low. The image itself isn't of a very high quality, hence the reason why this quality is low. So you can see what the perspective crop tool does. It has brought it from perspective into normal. Now I just Control Z, right? Another way of working with the crop tool is you click on your first spot, then you go over to your second. So I'm not clicking and dragging. I clicked one, and I just move my mouse over to the second point. I click, move my mouse over to this third point here. It allows me click, move my mouse over to this point here. It allows me click. So when I'm done, enter, and then it brings it into perspective, brings it straight, right? That's how your perspective crop tool works. So let's do this. We can also bring this whole box here, this whole box, from slanting, we could make it straight. Okay, so let's do it this way. Good. Now enter. You could see what was initially slanted is now straight. Now the reason why this is here is because if you notice from the picture, there was where the picture ended. Let me show you that. You see, this was it. This was where the picture ended. So it's not going to manufacture an extra part. Okay, so that is how you work with your perspective crop tool. Also, and alternatively, you can also take something that is in perspective out of perspective, or rather you can take something that is straight, you can also take something that is straight into perspective. There's this image, it's called Monday, on your resources. Open this Monday image. Let me show you how the perspective crop tool works here. Now look at this image. This is Monday. First, let's unlock the background. I want you to see how we can make an image looking straight into perspective. So I click on the perspective tool. Right now I want this image to be as though I'm looking at it from this side, right? As though I'm looking at it from here. So what do? Now I'm going to draw this way, make here one, then click, then come over here, click, come over here, click, enter. You see? So it makes it seem as though I'm looking at it from this side. So an image that was straight, it had sent it into perspective. Okay? And if you notice, the rest of the images are still very much in tune with what we're doing. Okay? So it has cropped this part and it made it slanting. Okay? So now, listen to what I did. I wanted it to be like I was looking at it from this direction. So what I did was I made this direction big and here small. So the selection I did here was a small selection. Just look at this, small, right? But this other side, I selected a much larger area. Okay, a much larger area, because the perspective tool would invert it. Okay, so when I press enter, you'd see it made here small, it made this area here small, and then it made here a lot longer, because the perspective tool would always invert it. So always bear that in mind. Also, your perspective tool works closely with your move tool, right? So the way this is now, if I click on the move tool and then I check this show transform controls. If I check it, you see it has brought out those transform controls. If you don't want to check it, you can also just click Control T or edit transform, edit free transform, Control T. So now that I have brought out the handles, now just watch what I'm doing. You could see as I reduce this, it gets more into perspective. Okay, increase it. Okay, so the perspective tool works very much also with your move tool. Okay, so having said that, that is that about the perspective crop tool. Another tool I want you to bear in mind, although the truth is these tools are not tools that you frequently use, and that's what I want you to bear in mind, is what we call the slice tool. It's also part of the crop group of tools, the slice tool. So what the slice tool does is that usually it creates separate images out of your image. The slice tool would create separate images out of your image. For instance, this is one image. If I wanted this to be a separate image, if I wanted this what's this apple or what to be a separate image, and I wanted these oranges to be a separate image, I wanted these red oranges here to be a separate image, these red apples to be a separate image, and the bananas a separate image. Instead of me having to cut and all of that, I could just use the slice tool to make them into separate images, right? And I'm going to show you how you do that now. So we click, we've selected the slice tool. So you click, so I'm making this green oranges a separate image. So I have clicked on the slice tool, right? So what the slice tool has done is it has divided, it has made this a selection. If you look clearly, you'll be able to see this line. So this has made this an image. It has made it an image. This is an image on its own. This is another image here. This is another image here. This is another image up here, and this is another image down here also. This is another image down here, and this is another image down here. So the slice tool has brought out quite some images from this. Okay, now so now let me show you very quickly. Let me just show you what this, the implication of this. So file, I go to export, and then I save for web. Okay, good. This is the part of the image that has been selected. Okay, so let me reduce the zoom a little. So this is the image. This is the part of the image I've selected. I want to make a separate image. Okay, now I can as well just select any of the other image parts. I can select any of the other image parts because it has cut this into about 6-7 different images. The one I selected, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 different images. So each of these images you can see here can be selected. If I export this now, each of them would be exported as a separate image. But then because if this image here is just selected, so only it will be exported, right? But what I want to do is I want each of these images here to be selected. So what do? I draw a line straight up here. So all the images are selected now. I click on save. Save. I want it on my desktop. So I just want images only. That's what you see by default. Images only. Leave it at images only. Then, as you can see by default, this is .png, and I'll explain why. This selected slices ensure, depends if you want all the slices, that's you want every single thing to be divided into different pictures. Select all the slides. If you want just the slices you've selected, you choose selected slides. But we already selected all the slides, so selected slides will still give you all the slides. So now save. The reason why this is in PNG is, if you remember when I was talking about images, I told you that images for web are usually in PNG images. So that's the file format for saving for web. The slice tool, what the slice tool does is that it is usually used by web developers. It's usually used by web developers. Very easy tool. So for instance, they've created a UI. It's usually used for UIs, web mockups, and all of that. So they've created a UI here, and they want to export individual components to help in the development. They don't have to start doing one by one, and separating the images by cropping and all that. They just use the slice tool to get out individual parts of the image. Okay, so now we have saved that. Let's see what it looks like. I saved it on my desktop, so let's see. Go to desktop. So it's usually we put this in a folder. So this is the folder here. All right, so here we go. It has put it in. These are the 5 images here. It divided it into 5 different images. As you can see, they are all in PNG. So here is the first image, right? This is the first image here. The next, you see? So you divided them all into individual images, basically usually used for web developers. So I just wanted to show you that so you're aware that that's how the slice tool works. Also, we have the slice select tool. It's used to select the slides, each of the slices. Okay, it's used to select each of the slices. You can see when I click here, this blue outline changes to yellow to show that it's selected. Okay, that's what the slide select tool is used for. It's used to select the slices. But then if I don't have my slide select tool clicked on, the slice tool cannot select individual slices. You can see that this is the slice tool right now. I can't select. But when I have my slide select tool, it could select individual slices. So that's that about our crop set of tools. In the next video, we'll talk about another set of tools that are also very important to need in Photoshop. Thank you.